All right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you're joining us from today. And welcome to our Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants event. My name is Joe Grabowski, and I'll be your host for today. Today's event's a pretty special one. We are stretching all across North America, bringing in Canada and the United States. We're reaching across to Hawaii and then all the way out to Hong Kong. So it really is an exciting event that we have in store for our classrooms today. So we always love events where we can head out into the field. We can learn a little bit more about exploration and adventure. And today's event is going to have a little bit of all of that. So on the 21st of June, 2021, Erden Eruc, a global adventurer, started his epic journey across the Pacific Ocean, rowing from Crescent City, California to Hong Kong in the first ever human-powered solo Pacific crossing north of the equator. In partnership with the Ocean Recovery Alliance, this rowing adventure will help raise awareness about plastic pollution and the overall health of our ocean. It will be the first ever mainland-to-mainland crossing of the Pacific between the Americas and Asia. So, after about 80 days and 2,646 miles rowing solo across the Pacific, Erden has arrived in Waikiki, Hawaii, and we have him joining us live right now at the Yacht Club. Let's bring him in now. Hey, Erden, how are you?
I am well. How about you? Can you hear me?
I am good. I'm good. I feel like I've gone back in time. I'm seeing a new sunrise, even though it's lunchtime here right now.
That is right. I hope everybody understands why I am having sunrise while you're about to have lunch over there.
All right.
It's a geographic location.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, why don't we do a quick pan around and get a quick little feel for where you're talking to us from right now?
Okay, I am in the Waikiki Yacht Club. I am going to use the front camera, or the back camera, sorry, and give you a tour. So right now, there we go. So I am in the marina, and there is my rowboat tied. I peeled back the cover that I had left the boat with before I went to mainland to take care of some business. I was gone for about a week. I came back. So this is the boat. It is 7.1 meters long, 24 feet. And it has solar panels to provide me power, 295 watts of power I can generate. So my batteries are always fully charged, even in cloudy conditions. And I have a rowing station in the middle of the boats. There's my rowing seat. You can see these are my oarlocks right there. And I have a front cabin that is for storage, and the main cabin which is the dry area where I spend most of my time if I am resting. I'm not rowing. I'm going to show you inside of that now. It's a bit of a mess because I am working on a few things on the boat right now. There you go. And there is the big tent, it's like a two-person tent. And I am putting a new chart plotter in, and there's the box for that. There is my yellow, the beacon is called the EPIRB, Emergency Position Indicating Radio Beacon. If I ever need help, I can have that turned on via satellite. The nearest vessel will be directed to my location. And the deck is covered, and under each one of these round hatch covers is a watertight compartment where I can store my supplies. This thing right here is my rudder control, and these yellow lines are connected to the rudder going out the side of the boat to the back to control the rudder. And I have displays here that tells me which way I'm going, and USB charger here in case I need power. This is a magnetic charger for my iPhone that I use to duplicate my chart plotter display outside so that I have control or access to all the information. And there is my compass. There's my evil eye. I was born in Cyprus, raised in Turkey. It's a traditional thing that you put that on and it just glances away all the evil thoughts and evil eyes that may be laid on my boat. So that's a traditional thing. And yeah, see, you see the green bucket over there, tucked away just in the light? That's my toilet. Everything goes overboard. And so that's it, really. I have all these chart plotters. I mean, the solar panels that I have charges a they charge a bank of batteries, 210 amp hour batteries, and those power everything that I have on board. And that includes my chart plotter, my radio, my navigation lights, anything that runs by electricity, basically. Then to make food, I use freeze-dried food pouches, and I boil water. I have butane canisters, camping stove that I hold by hand, and I boil half a liter of water, add it into the pouch. If I am patient enough, I'm supposed to wait 15 to 20 minutes for it to reconstitute, then cool down a bit. Typically, I get into it too quickly and burn my mouth. But that's the dinner setup. I have nuts and raisins and other things that I enjoy that give me some calories. So, and I take one a day vitamin pills to round out my diet. I have some protein shakes, some food replacement drinks. If I sweat too much, I can then quickly replace my fluid loss, mineral loss. So yeah, ocean rowing is something that I have been doing for a good long while. 22nd of June, I left from Crescent City. It took me 80 grueling days to get to Waikiki. It was just relentless. The mid-latitude jet stream established itself quite far north and far west than normal, which brought northwest winds, which threatened San Diego, failing that, go to Ensenada in Mexico, and then try again the next summer. But fortunately, I had a cold front come pass over my location. When a cold front comes, the winds veer, meaning they turn a bit clockwise. So the northwest winds became north-northwest and north. For about 2 days or so, I was able to put long hours, and I was able to put in 18 hours a day trying to break free due west, and we found some favorable currents, avoided some counter eddies, and then I was able to turn west toward Hawaii. And then when I came to Hawaii shores, the rain on the hills created downdraft that threatened to push me away to the sea, away from shore, keeping me away from coming into the marina. It took a bit of a battle, and I was able to come in and call it done February 10th. It was quite a challenge. I will still be going on once I complete all the tasks here, due west toward Hong Kong, and hopefully I will pull in style under my own power to meet Doug Woodring and Ryan, who have been working on an educational page for us in 4 languages: English, Chinese, Spanish, and Turkish. So those are that's the educational effort that we have going. All that I do serves to create content. It's an excuse for everyone to come join, and here you are listening to me. So it gives me joy to be able to have a cause important as plastic pollution in our oceans, to raise awareness about that and to tell you about that. And yeah, we are on our way to Everest. Once I get to Asia, then I will continue overland to foothills of Everest and then attempt to climb that. And we will talk about the mountain phases, land phases at a later date. So I think Ryan or Doug should say a few words about our educational content that they're putting on, uh, and take the word from me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to bring Doug in just a moment. Doug's joining us live from Hong Kong. But Erden, thank you so much for that little breakdown of the journey so far. Hearing it in words makes it sound really easy, but I bet those 18-hour days were just absolutely grueling, trying to break free and make sure you can continue on to Hawaii. So wow, what an accomplishment! Amazing.
Yeah, I was able to do this by sleeping 4 hours after about sunset, after having my dinner. I'd set my alarm, wake up, and then stay up the rest of the night until I could no longer do this. And then I would go in and have a 2-hour nap, come back out. So when I say 18 hours, it's 18 hours including, of course, food preparation and everything else. But that's awake time. The only time that I did sleep was 4 and 2-hour sessions during those days.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Well, we're going to turn the classrooms loose in just a few moments with some questions. I'm going to bring Doug in here with us. Doug from Ocean Recovery Alliance. They've been working on just an incredible education piece to go along with everything that you've been doing. So here's Doug. Doug joining us from Hong Kong. Hey, Doug.
Hi, Joe. Hi, Erden. How are you? Good to see you.
We are well.
So we've got a great program called Westbound Rower. That's what we're calling Erden's journey, and because he's coming westbound from California to meet us in Hong Kong, and we do a lot of work around ocean protection. Erden is one of our ocean ambassadors, and we're creating with Ryan, who's my colleague, a really amazing educational program every week. And we launch it on Wednesdays. So we call it Westbound Wednesdays. And it's everything about the ocean, about sports. It's about survival. It's about how do you make water. It's about current flow and weather and fish and animals and everything that sort of Erden experiences in his huge journey from California, which is over 7,800 miles. And we hope to see him here in Hong Kong in February or March of next year. So tune in, tell your friends, tell your parents, tell everyone, because it's really amazing, to think about what happens when you're crossing the ocean. Not only loneliness, because Erden's out there by himself, but what does he see? How does he navigate? How does he plan for storms? How does he survive the waves? How does he make water? All of these things that you might not learn in the classroom. And all of that brings appreciation to the ocean and the environment and the things we're trying to protect. So thank you for tuning in. Spread the word. We're going to be doing these calls every few weeks with Erden on the satellite phone when he gets moving from Hawaii in about a week. And so we look forward to see some of you again soon. And of course, when he gets into Hong Kong.
Yeah, and then Doug, there's also a great opportunity for students, a little giveaway that we're going to have. I'm going to share my screen to share a little picture here. Do you want to talk a little bit about what we're seeing here?
Sure. So this is these are bags that we designed called pick-me-up bags, and I've got one here as well. And they're made from old kites from kite surfing. The Kite Surfing Association in Hong Kong has basically provided these to us, old kites. So we repurpose them in their hip bags. So they go on your hip. And when you're walking on the beach or you're taking a hike, or could be even in town or in the park, it's a place to put trash, to put litter, not your own, but when you see it on the ground, when you see it on the beach, you pick it up and you're proud to pick it up, and you show people that you're proud to pick it up. And a lot of people, when they walk on the beach or in the park, they don't pick things up and they think someone else will do it. And this is a lot of times they don't pick it up because they have nowhere to put it. So this hangs on your hip, and you can pick up the trash and put it in this bag, and it's got a little thing for the water to come out if you're at the beach or somewhere, and then you can throw it away in the right place. So at least you get it out of the environment that you like. And so to win this bag, after each of the calls with Erden, if you answer some of the questions that Joe will send out, what inspires you from Erden's talk? What did you learn? And what can you do in the short term or the long term to help protect the ocean and the environment? The winning sort of answer will get one of these bags, and you'll love them. So join in. Hopefully you can participate. And we got all kinds of colors you can see, because all the kites are different colors. Really cool, lightweight, strong material. But this is a neat way to show our appreciation for what Erden's doing and traveling across the ocean, and telling all of you about it, as students and future adventurers and future protectors of our planet and the world we love to live in.
All right, excellent. Well, they are very cool looking bags, a great example of recycling and keeping things from entering the waste system. And I will send a note to all the classrooms who are tuning in either via YouTube or who are with us in live camera spots, and tell you what you can do for a chance to win one of those bags. And we'll send some of those bags to winning students. So very exciting. Erden, we're going to shift back to talk to you for a little bit now, because I think it's time we do a little Q&A action.
Okay.
All right, excellent. So coming in via the YouTube chat, we already have a few eagle eyes who noticed a couple things. So Ms. Padberg's class is wondering, did they spot peanut butter on board?
Yes. Yes, I was given that on arrival for my snacks, and it was the only thing that was left out of the snacks. I set that aside to get into it later, and I never did. Yes, good eye. Very observant.
Yeah, and then from Toronto, Miss Arlene's group, they saw the evil eye that you had there, and they're wondering, are there other things, other maybe quotes or anything else that helps you stay positive when you're, struggling against the wind or something?
Oh, I often say to myself, one day at a time. Every morning I have to reassess where I am, what I need to do to get to my goal, and every day I need to stay positive and put effort toward my destination. Because this boat, even though the ocean carries it, I have to correct course and make sure that it goes where I want, and that means physical effort to be put in, and that takes mental fortitude to keep on target. So every day I have to put in my hours and earn my crossing. So I think it is about a lot of persistence, a lot of stubbornness, and not giving up. That gets me across.
All right, excellent. Well, those who are tuning in live via YouTube, keep those questions in via the chat. I'll keep an eye out for a few more. Let's start visiting some of our live camera classrooms now, because we have lots to visit over the next little bit of time here. So we're going to head to Los Lunas, New Mexico first. We've got some 3rd and 4th graders hanging out with This is Nilvo. So let me bring them in here first. There they are. Hey, New Mexico, how are you? All right, great to see everyone. Who's got a question for us? Nice and loud.
Lily wants to know, what age did you start doing this? How old are you now? And do you train for this?
Well, I train to be as fit as I can be on departure. Nothing prepares me for 18-hour day of rows, of course. So my goal would be to not get injured during the first 2 weeks and not expect performance until 4 to 6 weeks after launch. But in this case, I was challenged right off the bat and had to stay on top of things and stay outside and row. So my fitness regimen is a lifelong commitment. I have not quit working out ever since I started when I was in middle school. And I was a wrestler. I did judo. I ran marathons. I lately do CrossFit type workouts. I run trails. a lot of that. The ocean rowing for me started back in 2005. Knowing that I was going to do a circumnavigation, I wanted to make sure that I could cross the oceans. So I found the Ocean Rowing Society based in London and bought this used rowboat that was built in 2001. Before I got this rowboat, it had completed 2 crossings of the Atlantic Ocean, a British all-male team and a mother-daughter team, also from England. They rowed in 2004 from Canary Islands to Barbados. And then when I received this boat from them, I was able to take it across the Atlantic, 96 days from Canary Islands to Guadeloupe. And then during my circumnavigation, I rowed across the 3 oceans, the Pacific, Bismarck Sea, Coral Sea, Indian Ocean, South Atlantic, then Caribbean, and the Gulf of Mexico to complete my row. When I left Crescent City, I was still 59. I turned 60 on July 14th. So I also surpassed the threshold of 1,000 days total of rowing on the ocean. So right now my career total stands at 1,008 days. That's the leading number in the world today. And this includes my 2-person rows, partnered rows. My solo row count is 925 days, which is also a Guinness record. So right now I hold 16 Guinness World Records.
All right. Absolutely amazing. What do you do to celebrate your birthday out in the middle of the ocean?
A friend of ours had come to my launch at Crescent City and had given me a bottle of cognac. I said, the first splash goes to those still at sea who haven't returned home in their memory. So you splash one and then you take a sip and say, cheers to those who supported me and who believe in me and try to live up to that promise. So that was my celebration. A bit of cognac with some chocolate I had along. So I said, that's it. That's my dessert as well. And that was a brief celebration. Of course, I called my wife. We celebrated remotely apart once again. Yeah, we do that in our anniversary days as well. So it is a difficult existence. This is as close to military deployment as you can get in the civilian life.
All right. Well, let's grab another group here. Let's go to Ontario and Canada this time. We have some grade 7s hanging out with Miss Reed. Let me bring them into the conversation. Oh, I don't see them. Maybe their tech went down. I'll keep an eye out for them and see if they come back in. Let's slide over then to Fulton Elementary, some 3rd graders in Sherwood Park. I think that that might be Alberta, but they'll correct me if I'm wrong. Let me bring them into the call here. Where's Fulton? There we are. Hey, 3rd graders. Can you unmute for me?
Hello. Have you faced any dangers?
I have not faced major dangers on this crossing. My rowboat has a light at night that everybody can see, and I also have an AIS system, which stands for Automated Information System, which tells me where the other vessels are, and they can also see where I am. So we are aware of our presence. The one threat that I had were the storms that originated south of Mexico and then traveled west. Those storms start as tropical depressions, they become tropical storms, then they become hurricanes if they stay over hot water, warm waters, and have access to moisture. So when they come west, then they come to about 125 west longitude, which is south of California. They meet the cold waters of the California current, which then takes away their power, bleeds their power, and they come across as remnant lows, we call them. Some of them escape and get really strong and then come across very powerful still. So I had a few of those storms to avoid. We decided that I should stay at about 25 north latitude to come across and stay out of the path of these storms, and then they all passed south of me. They either died away or they passed south of me, and then at the very last moment I committed and came in toward Waikiki to Hawaii. So we had some measure of precaution to avoid that kind of danger as well. So storms can be a danger, other vessels can be a danger, and also as I approach other land masses, I have the risk of hitting ground or hitting corals or currents taking over my boat and then putting me into dangerous spots. So those things have to be addressed as I encounter them. So far, so good, though.
All right. So let's grab another one of our live groups here. Let's go to San Jose this time. San Jose, California. 5th graders hanging out with us. Let's bring them into the chat. There they are. Hey, San Jose.
Did you see the Great Pacific Garbage Patch when you were rowing?
That's a very good question. As an ocean rower, I have a very underpowered vessel. I am the engine. It's a 1/4 horsepower. So what that means is I have to follow the currents and follow the wind patterns. That means I have to stay on the periphery of the Great Pacific High and follow the winds around and come across to gain the trade winds. Then I can go west. So the short answer to this long explanation is that no, I did not, because the Great Pacific Garbage Patch gathers in the low wind area that is near the center of the Great Pacific High. So the plastic garbage collects in the middle, and I stay on the periphery of it to take advantage of the winds. So when I do see garbage, it is typically styrofoam that I see, because styrofoam is very light and it's white and it stands up. Most of its weight is supported by the little bit that is submerged. So I see more of it. It's a volume that stands above the water. Other more dense plastic does still float, but it's just below the surface, so the sun's glare hides it, and I can't spot them. I sit very low near the water, and my vision is limited to perhaps 50 meters circle around me, 50-meter radius. And as the winds pick up and the whitecaps happen and the seas get more lively, it is even more difficult to spot the plastic garbage. It breaks down into smaller bits, becomes microplastics, smaller and smaller bits, So once the plastic is in the system, it never disappears. Some of it sinks, most of it floats, and a lot of it ends up in the guts of birds or turtles or whales, or you have any living creature out there. They mistaken it for food, and then they die because they consume that stuff. So it's a big problem. It is a problem we have created as humans, and we need to take responsibility for it and reduce and control the waste that escapes into the environment.
All right, excellent. And then, you know, as we've talked about a little bit earlier, a big reason for this journey is to raise that awareness about the plastics that are entering our ocean, and about making better decisions to turn that tap off and stop that plastic from flowing into our oceans. So where should we go now? Let's go to Pennsylvania. Fifth graders hanging out with us in Pennsylvania. Let's bring them in now. I think this is them. Hey, fifth graders, how are we?
Ellie, you can come up. Come and go to your seat. All right, here comes our question. Say it over here.
Do you like to work alone, or would you rather work with a person?
There's room for both.
Go ahead.
When I cannot get done alone, I certainly need partners and help and company. There's joy in a good working relationship in any team, and that energizes everyone. Everyone gets more done more. The sum is larger than the sum of the parts in that case. When I am alone, though, I have responsibility for the outcome. I need to be able to handle this vessel. I need to be able to get it across. I need to be able to prepare it and keep it on course. All of these are a great source of satisfaction. So when I get this done, I'm accountable for the results. As a responsible seaman, as a mariner, I need to make sure that I deliver on the promise. And when I talk to you, I am confidently able to say that, yeah, it was me who wrote that here, and you know that as well. So something being done solo is a great source of pride and satisfaction. That doesn't mean teams are not involved. So right now, for example, we are putting together an educational program based out of Hong Kong. Doug Woodring and Ryan Chung are assembling content for you to enjoy. I have my weather router. He helps yachts normally. He's keeping an eye on currents and winds and keeps me aware of what's going on around me. I communicate with him more often than I communicate with my wife. So there is a team involved, and we are doing fundraising for various charitable causes for our nonprofit around and over. And that involves people putting forth an effort to find the sources of income for this nonprofit so that we can get our job done. So I may be by myself, but I am not alone. Let me leave it at that.
All right, excellent. Well, big shout out to everybody behind the scenes who makes so much of this possible, and so many great things happening out of this journey. We're going to head back to Canada, to Moortown, Ontario, with some third and fourth graders. Let me bring them into the call here. Hey, everyone, how we doing?
Hi! They hear us now.
There they are.
Camera's right here.
What inspired you?
What inspired you to go on this journey?
I was in the information technology world, working in a software development lab. And between software programming sessions, I would stand in front of this map on the wall that had Americas on the right, Pacific in the middle, Old World on the left. I was in Washington, D.C. then. I traced my finger one day across that map from right to left, east to west, and all the way to Turkey. And I said, I even gave it a name, Journey Home. And then it was a quiet obsession because not everybody needed to know. People were being cynical. So that's how it started. Yeah, that was 97. And in 2002, September, while rock climbing together with a friend, his name was Joran Kropp. He had bicycled from Sweden to Nepal to climb Everest. He was famous for that. We had an accident and he fell and he died. And that's when I decided life is short. I have to get going. Enough talking about it. So it had been 5 years since I had first had the thoughts of a circumnavigation. I decided, yeah, I have to commit. I cashed out my retirement funds with the blessings of my then fiancée Nancy, and we downsized our lifestyle, sold one car, moved away from downtown to a cheaper area, so our mortgage commitment went down as well, and then I could manage the journey. So that's how it started. 2003, I climbed Mount McKinley after bicycling up there, towing my climbing gear, just like Joran had to Everest. And then in 2006, I rode the Atlantic. And then 2007 through 2012, I completed my circumnavigation, first solo circumnavigation by human power. Got done in 5 years, 11 days. And that brought me 15 Guinness World Records. Then now I am continuing my dedication to Joran, which I call the Six Summits Project. I am trying to get to the summit of the highest peak on each continent except Antarctica. So McKinley is done in 2003, Kosciuszko in Australia, and Kilimanjaro in Africa were done in 2010 and 2011 respectively during my circumnavigation. And now my goal is to reach Everest, then Elbrus, then Aconcagua during this journey. So I am crossing the Pacific Ocean on my way to Everest right now.
All right. Erden, is it 15 or 16 records you currently hold right now?
Well, 16 has been established. The most days at sea after I left from Bodega Bay. And once that is certified, adjudication happens through Ocean Recovery Alliance, and then it gets into the system. Yes, 16, but online you will see 15.
All right. Well, we're going to head to New Jersey. We need to visit New Jersey for a question here. Miss Capone's class. Let me grab them. Where are there? They are. How we doing, New Jersey?
All right. Graham, you want to answer your question? We had a lot of questions, and I think you've answered many of them, but go ahead, Graham. Okay, pull your mask down so we can hear you. Right here.
Yeah. Oh. How much marine life did you see on your journey?
How much do I see what? I'm sorry?
Marine life.
How much marine life did you see on your journey?
Marine life. You would be surprised that I see little. It's a virtual desert out there. As I am rowing, the action around me doesn't pick up until I get to warmer currents where I can find flying fish. Once the flying fish appear, and that's food for everybody else. So the birds show up, the terns, and near shore I get frigate birds, and then naughty terns. There are pelagic species that go farther away from land. They live on the water. So you get the boobies and the terns, a variety of terns, sooty terns, for example. There are migrating birds, the Arctic terns, that come and pass across my path. I see dorados, mahi-mahi. They come and hang out under my boat. An ecosystem forms under my boat that follows in the shade of my boat. And I see turtles every now and then. They come and knock against the hull. As I am laying in the cabin, if I hear chirping, it's dolphins. If I hear knocking sound against the hull, like a door knock, that's a turtle feeding on the barnacles. If I hear whooshing sounds, that's typically the tuna really dashing past and hunting under my boat. So I have a sense of what's going on around me as I lay there. It's an interesting experience.
All right, very cool. Well, there's a couple questions online I'd like to work in here. One's from Miss Aldrich's group, and they're wondering about capsizing. Is that a possibility? And then Mr. Allen's group would like to know a little bit more about how you navigate.
The capsizing is always a possibility. This boat is designed to handle big seas. So it has a covered deck. So when a wave breaks and fills the deck, it'll get a bit slushy and it'll just wallow there a bit until the water drains out of the scuppers on each side of the deck. And what doesn't drain is the water in the footwell. And there I have a bilge pump that pumps it out. So the boat will not fill and sink. There is ballast water below my rowing station in the center of the boat, and all the supplies are under below deck as well. The cabin itself is a cavernous area where I have a lot of air volume. That creates buoyancy. So if this boat goes sideways, you have the center of mass pulling down below deck and the cabin lifting up above deck. So that creates a very strong riding moment, and that then puts the boat right side up. The key here is to never get caught when a wave comes and hits the boat with the cabin door open. So I make sure that the hatch is closed to the cabin, so the cabin itself cannot be flooded. If the cabin itself is flooded, then there's no buoyancy to right this boat. Then I have a problem. So I just have to be careful and be aware of that weakness of this design of this boat, and make sure that I get her across safely. I also have a life raft on board in case such a thing does happen, it capsizes and it doesn't right itself. Then I can deploy the life raft and transition to the life raft and wait for a pickup by a passing vessel.
All right. And then can you touch just a little bit on the navigation?
Oh, yes. I use electronic means to navigate. Chart plotter is what I use, GPS. I have a handheld chart plotter as well. These devices keep me informed of my location.
All right. Well, Erden, we this year we've started doing little virtual quizzes online for classrooms using something called Kahoot. And I can see a few classrooms have it pulled up on their screen already. So I made a little quiz about a few things we touched on today, and we're going to see how well the students were paying attention before we wrap up today. So I'm going to pop up a banner here. This is the link. So you can either, if you have one-to-one devices, great. You can use it one-to-one. Otherwise, you can just, if your teacher loads it up at the front of the room, you can all play together and just yell out the answers to your teacher. So that's the link right there. And I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to put up the special PIN number to join. So here we go. We're going to load that up right now. There we go. So that should be sharing. And let's load up this quiz here. All right, so the PIN number is coming up. Today's PIN is going to be 886-1697. So that should be up on the screen. We'll wait a few seconds here, maybe 30 seconds to a minute, to see if we have some players come in and join us. Here we go. People are starting to join. And then we will go through the quiz. Now, there's two things to remember. One, the right answer. That's always helpful. But the other way you can score big points is the faster you put that right answer in. So you can either join on your one-to-one devices if you have something handy, or your teacher can join at the front of the room and you can play together, shout out your answers. So we'll give it another minute here, and then we'll go live. Remember, speed is key, but the right answer is even more important. We'll see how well everyone was paying attention today. All right, lots of students joining us. Okay, it's slowed down, so I'm going to get it started now. Here we go, 20 seconds for each question. Question number 1. How many miles has Erden rowed so far? So we talked about this in the introduction. Was it 1,000? Was it 1,545? Was it around 2,600? Or was it 544 miles? All right. So 23 hit the right answer. I think it was about 2646 in total. Does that sound about right, Erden?
That is correct.
All right. Excellent. So jumping to the next question. In Touch California is in the lead. Here we go. If successful, Erden will be the first to row across the Pacific Ocean, across the Pacific north of the equator, across the Pacific south of the equator, or across the Atlantic Ocean. There's one answer there that we would know you definitely weren't paying attention if you picked that one. The other three could be a little tricky. Let's see who knows that right answer. All right. 32 students went with across the Pacific, north of the equator. Good job. In Touch CA is still holding down the lead. Question 3. How many Guinness World Records does Erden have? So I did even remind everybody by asking a little earlier, is it 12, 16, 5, or 10? All right, the vast majority went with 16. The scoreboard is staying the same, but it's time for the last question, and anything can happen in the final question. What kind of garbage does Erden typically see? Did he say it was bottles? Did he say it was bags, toothbrushes, or styrofoam? Who remembers what was floating nice and high in the water and was easier to see? All right, styrofoam. The vast majority went with styrofoam. Good job, everyone. Our final podium in third place, Mrs. Scala's class. Excellent, our Pennsylvania crew. Kyron was second, and In Touch California held it all the way through. Good job, everybody, and thanks for playing along with us today. All right. Well, let me just stop my screen share here. Erden, what an amazing journey so far. Just incredible what you've accomplished and lots more to come ahead. We can't wait to continue following along on your journey, to check out the education resources, to join you for some satellite calls live from the Pacific. It was so amazing to have this opportunity to connect with you for a little bit today.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address your classes. I think we'll look forward to doing more of this when on the boat. Satellite phone, just voice only may be the way, but we'll see how it goes.
All right. I'll pop Doug back in here from Hong Kong for a second. Doug, thank you so much for joining us today. I have the link up here to the education material. It's really long, but if you search Ocean Recovery, it should come up for you, or just oceanrecov.org, and you can find the Westbound Rower details there. And those pickup bags are absolutely beautiful. So I'm excited we can share those with classrooms.
It's also bit.ly/rower.
Okay, excellent. And there's a beautiful story map as well that goes along with it. I'll share that link with all of the educators joining us.
See everyone. Thanks for good to see you, Erden. And we.
All right. Well, Erden, enjoy the rest of your time on dry land. I'm going to some of our classrooms here for a big goodbye and thank you. Here's a few of them there. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Good luck, Erden. We can't wait for your next call. All right. Thanks, everyone. We are signing off for today.